Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 2 o'clock, and I'm drinking bourbon out of a coffee mug because I've been up since 6 a.m. Jotting down a bunch of my thoughts about what's been happening to us as people over the last year and some change. I don't want to make this video too long, so without further ado, I am terrible at speeches, and I'm terrible at remembering speeches, so you're going to see my eyes kind of like looking at my computer while I'm recording from my phone. So here it goes. In the beginning, all of this was fear. It was all fear. Fear of our well-being, fear of being helpless and unprepared, fear of the unknown. A miraculous and almost unbelievable escape happened at a lab overseas, and we were all faced with yet another pandemic. Just like swine flu in 2009, Ebola in 2014, and the Zika virus in 2016. The difference between then and now is there was no bad orange man running things all those other times. The story hit TV, and overnight emails went out to every major news station with a script, and people who we thought we could turn to for honest information were now a part of a global scam. Everyone started believing the paid-off people on news stations. So people started acting the part by panic buying. Poof goes the toilet paper, poof goes the water, poof goes the hand sanitizer, the bleach, cleaning products, and even canned foods. Then came the lockdown and the division. People were banished to their homes, and only the essential were allowed to travel to and from work. Small businesses suffered, and some even closed completely and permanently, while large corporations that made sizable donations to a certain political party were allowed to remain open. We became a country divided by essential versus non-essential people. Those who believed the hype versus those who knew our government is bad, is evil, regardless of the side they're on. Those that take the word of Fox, NBC, and CNN as gospel versus those that know the media is untrustworthy. It's real versus it's not real. Maskers versus anti-maskers, and the list goes on. Suddenly, everyone became a virologist because they hopped on WebMD. People tossed around the word science like it was the end-all be-all argument if you said it's science or follow the science after every ridiculous opinion you had. When in actuality, scientists can be paid off, and their theoretical explanation of a phenomenon can be swayed by the highest bidder. Hence the CDC changing its evaluations about this current illness's contagion attributes and its symptoms on a regular basis. Not because of experiments though, because of instruction. Due to these constant inconsistencies, friends became enemies, relationships broke apart, families were torn, marriages ended over differences of opinion, and people even lost their jobs because they refused to be bullied into believing everything they were told, and they refused to wear a useless muzzle. All because of the root issue: fear. People were resorting to drugs and alcohol, and suicide numbers skyrocketed. And when fear didn't work, the upper echelon of the left used skin color to divide us instead, inevitably creating a raised fist black war against those who flew our nation's red, white, and blue flag. Criminals became heroes so organizations can destroy and loot cities in the name of justice, because every breaking news story was white cop versus black suspect. But nothing screams justice like a pair of stolen Nikes, right? The terrorist organization Black Lives Matter is ran by rich white men that use black faces to gain donations to fund Democratic campaigns. Am I racist for saying that? No. But I'll be called racist by simple-minded people that can't handle truth. Google it. And while you're at it, Google where all the donated money to Black Lives Matter goes. Not to send poor kids to college, not to improve low-income communities, but to move Marxist leaders of Black Lives Matter out of the ghetto and into million-dollar gated communities. These thugs literally get away with murder, while everyone else has to tiptoe around the ridiculous demands and education practices that are being pushed on our children in schools. Critical race theory is a fucking joke. Teaching Caucasian children to have white guilt and that the police are all racist and bad is horseshit, and we shouldn't be allowing our children to learn such trash. But I digress. Suddenly things started getting exposed. The voices of the conspiracy theorists, like myself, were being heard. Emails became public. False reports were uncovered. Organizations and their members were put on blast. Political figures were caught. Hidden truths came to light. And all the things we conspiracy theorists assumed were happening were actually relevant. The hoax, the fraud, the cover-up, everything. Right down to the door-to-door poke checkers looking for papers and the indoctrination of our children with a bullshit racially driven curriculum being taught in schools. Be less white and pronouns for everyone, right? There's a war on freedom of speech and there's a war on masculinity because silent and censored people can't speak up about the atrocities happening right before our eyes, and weak, brainwashed men are easier to control, manipulate, and take over. Ultimately, it's about money, power, and control. Currently, it's a mad dash from the elite to censor and silence anyone that goes against the narrative. The left-wing people of power are still trying other options to control we the people by any means necessary. The conspiracy theorists were right. However, those of us who were correct from the beginning will never get an apology from people that were once our friends who called us crazy, racist, or told us we were killing people because of our actions. It's impossible to argue with people who have a moral sense of superiority in their ignorance, so they will never admit they were wrong and bridges will never be built. But what now? Once everything has come to the surface and our government is fully exposed for their lies and crimes, what will change? How do we prevent this situation from happening again? Who do we trust? We can't vote in people we believe in because our election process has been compromised. I know the answers to all these questions, but I can't say them here because our freedom of speech isn't free when we're voicing our opinions on a fascist platform. And because I have a drop of common sense and slightly lean right, my accounts are red flagged and my voice is constantly muted by a fact-checking Gestapo whenever I say anything against the narrative. I'm no doomsday prepper, but I have an odd feeling things aren't over. A catalyst is near, so my stockpile of water, wood, food, fuel, and ammo will be ever growing. Preparedness is key, because this ride isn't over yet, and things will get worse before they get better. Millions of quiet, armed American citizens haven't been pushed to their breaking point yet. But with every unconstitutional mandate, attack on our Second Amendment rights, ridiculous restriction, and this push to force everyone to get this vaccine that doesn't even qualify as a vaccination according to the FDA put into our bodies, we are getting closer to that point. In conclusion, nothing I've said in this video promotes violence, nor is it anything fact checkers need to evaluate. It's simply a slightly leaned right point of view with common sense and critical thinking as my basis. So if it gets deleted, or I get silenced, again, it's simply because someone somewhere doesn't like the way I think and it scares them. So if it gets deleted, you know why, and it should scare you too. The current political party in charge and those that they are affiliated with are not your friends. Everything they are currently trying to do is designed to divide us and make us dumber, fatter, weaker, sicker, or completely reliant on them. We the people cannot let that happen. We need more lions and less sheep. If you agree with anything I just said, please share the fuck out of this video because it's only a matter of time before it gets removed. Thank you very much for listening. God bless and have a good day.